class status or first world status seems to be something that Kenya is clawing for at the moment. With certain things that we have seen, the establishment of the National Infrastructure Fund, the establishment of a sovereign wealth fund, and mega infrastructure. And it seems as if these are the things that is going to take Kenya into that space. You smile. So I wonder if that is because you do not agree.
We've been at this for a long, long time. And I remember when Vision 2030 was launched, and I forget what his name was. He was the chair of Vision 2030, a young gentleman, budding professional.
Mugo
Kabati.
Yes.
And I remember tweeting and saying, this is not how it's done. And it's for a very simple reason. So the business of economic growth is the business of generating value. But the concept of value is very subjective. So even when you talk to entrepreneurs and the way they invest, what is valuable today may not be valuable tomorrow. I like going back to the famous quote by the then Nokia chief.
Yep.
And he said, we did nothing wrong, and yet we lost. All that investment went to, why? Because people's concept of what value is changed. You had the best phones at one time, and then not anymore.
Yeah.
Right? So, and the countries that have been able to leapfrog into development have understood this. So that's why you have the very the debate in economics about market-driven development versus planned development. And most countries that mark time, usually you'll find that they pursue planned development as opposed to market-driven development.
Are you saying that from the word go, even when we're coming up with the Vision 2030, we've always gotten it wrong? And if that's the case, then is it that advice is not sought? Is it that advice is given but it's not adhered to? Or is it that we allow politics to come in between and hence we lose focus?
I think this one, I want to put it on the doorstep of of how economics is taught in Kenya. So if you look at how, and this is just from experience, the people who call themselves economists in Kenya have basically act from one school of thought. So we don't have the market-driven versus debates versus planned debates that you have in US, in UK, in Europe or whatever. Ours is very, So we've got this, I call it inbreeding. The ideas are all sourced from one school of thought, and that's why I thought I needed to come here, because I don't hear mine being given the microphone quite often. So it's you need to let the markets decide where you invest. If you invest for the sake of investing, that's what we call, you run a very high risk of what we call misallocation of resources. You've invested in somewhere that you're producing products that nobody wants. That's a big risk, and for a country that is poor, resources are scarce. That's Econ 101. Resources are scarce, so you have to allocate resources in a manner that maximizes output or value, if you will, to society, and this has to be voted for in the market. What people say they want versus what they actually will pay for are two different things. And what they'll pay for is what determines the value. What they want, really, that's not their money. If it's not their money, they have a very different criteria of what they want than when they're spending their money, and that's where the gap is.
Is Kenya resource scarce?
Well, so in economics we say everybody resources are scarce because you never have enough resources to do everything you want. Now for Kenya, there's a lot of poverty.
Yeah.
Right? Why is that? It's because of poverty is really scarcity. When you don't have everything you need you're available to eat. When we say you're poor, it's because you don't have the capacity to buy everything that you need to survive. So when you're poor, obviously, there's a lot of scarcity. It's not scarcity of resources, it's scarcity of resources.
But is Kenya poor?